everybody, welcome back as ever to Quali-Tea time here on actually a pretty nice day, honestly, all things considered. It's bright and sunny, there's hardly a cloud in the sky, and the temperature is quite balmy and warm. That said, the news is quite grim. Now, there wasn't a vlog last week, and ordinarily I would record these on Monday, but if I had done so, then my information for you right now would be dramatically out of date. It has gotten considerably more dire in the last 24 hours, let alone the last 48, so this is going to be a bit of an info dump. Apologies in advance. Coronavirus. The major thing. In an update to our current situation, there have been at least 3 cases confirmed in Middlesbrough, right here. There is at least 21 in Teesside, which you could, for American viewers, you could sort of think of Teesside as being our state, whereas Middlesbrough is our county. I think I'm getting that order of magnitude correct. Meanwhile, nearly 100,000 confirmed cases in the actual country, and over 400 deaths and counting. The UK has therefore been considered to be high risk of infection. Not to say that the UK is not infected already, meaning like you're a pretty damn high chance of being infected if you happen to be here, if you don't take precautions. The government announced very recently, I think it was like yesterday, that there will now be an enforced by police lockdown. This is a significant improvement over the previous efforts by the government, which was to just say, pretty please could you stay indoors. Now people actually have to, so we don't have to go to work, that kind of thing, so people can actually do so. That said, it's not a full kind of serviceable lockdown because there are still many people that do have to go to work, not entirely just because they're essential workers such as people in the NHS and whatnot, but because they have no other fiscal choice in the matter. Fortunately for me, I work from home already, so it's really more that everything else around me is on fire, and well, now I can't really go to the supermarket because it's ablaze. I'm not even halfway through this list. Oh boy. If you are in the UK, you are subject to lockdown. If you are not an essential worker, let's say if you don't work at the supermarket, or if you aren't a member of the NHS, like work with the NHS, then you must limit yourself to leaving your homes once per day. That is the absolute thing you should aim for. This includes for exercise or for getting groceries, that kind of thing. Ideally, you need to carry paperwork saying why you're out, because you will most likely be stopped by police, or you should be if they're doing their jobs, and you're gonna want some easy-to-hand means of proving why you're out. While you're out, by the way, observe a distance of 2 meters. If you are within 2 meters of another person, you can still catch for the virus from particulate, such as sneezes, coughs, and just general vapors, as it were. Otherwise, work from home as much as possible. Beyond that, the lockdown is expected to last 3 weeks, potentially much longer, with many organizations around here already anticipating that this will extend into early June. In an amendment to my previous advice on this vlog, this disease could be likened to the flu only in its transmission modus. That is to say that you can catch it from somebody sneezing or coughing or that kind of thing, or bodily fluids ending up on your hands and touching somebody else, that kind of thing. In its actual symptoms, it is also similar, but also hugely more severe. Most will only experience mild symptoms, but some people, especially the older, the immunocompromised, but also some young people, there have been quite a few healthy young people who have been suffering quite severely, including some of the fatalities so far, will experience potentially fatal effects. Now, there's one confirmed case in my personal social circle, as is already. I don't know if she wants me to reveal her identity in this vlog, so I won't be naming names, but she has written at length about her experience under the disease, and it is chilling, to say the least. Long story short, the progression of her symptoms lasted about 2 hours, and then she was out for pretty much a week, literally struggling to breathe, very nearly ended up hospitalized, and even now, having survived it, she may be facing a life of, just permanent lung damage. You might get that whether or not you suffer that badly, so your options really are catch the disease and potentially infect a whole bunch of other people, and also maybe die, but also maybe spend the rest of your life struggling to breathe in general, or do what you can to stay home and avoid transmitting this to other people and avoid catching it in turn. That is the main thing that you need to take away from this. This is not a joke. This is not hype. This is not a hoax. This is a very serious illness, and if I didn't already have a pretty strong urge to, like, prevent this being transmitted to other people who I might know within, like, a few steps of distance, that kind of thing, I definitely have a strong inclination to not catch it now. So, bear that in mind. This is not only good for people several, like, degrees of separation from you, this is good for you. This is going to specifically improve your life if you actually uphold this lockdown. Our government is in shambles, but at least they're actually doing something, and they're now basically mandating that you have to do this, and if you don't, then you're a complete idiot, frankly, and you're going to get yourself and probably quite a few other people killed. So, please, I'm almost certain that anybody watching this from my community is already well aware of what they should be doing and how bad things are, but please take this seriously. Other than that, we're still debating on what to do with the VODs, but for at least the time being, given that there's going to be a lot of people at home and whatnot looking for content and such, I'm going to be uploading VODs to the main channel, so don't be too alarmed if you suddenly start seeing 12, 15 plus hours of content showing up around here on a regular basis. So that's going to be happening at least temporarily to just keep people, like, entertained as such. That's all I've ever really been able to do under any circumstances, so I might as well try and do what I can for it in this particular one. That is about all the news I have. Obviously there's a lot more knock-on effects going on as a consequence of the lockdown and the coronavirus measures. The universal credit system, for instance, has been heavily overwhelmed, and we're actually still waiting on our payment for this month, so we're gonna go a little bit hungry most likely, but we should be fine. Don't worry about us. We have routes, we have options. We're gonna keep yelling at them either way, so don't worry about us. Just stay home, stay safe, try to stay happy. I know that's asking quite a lot in these times, but please. And with that, onto the schedule. On Wednesday night at 7 PM GMT, we have more Dungeons and Dragon hats, and just how in over their heads are the team? Then on Thursday at 9 PM GMT, we have more Monster Hunter World on midnight, and on Friday at 9 we have Friday night with some more Vampire, seeing just what we've done to Whitechapel. And on Saturday at 7 we have some more Dungeons and Dragon hats, where it's round 1 versus the Death Gas Zombie. Fight! Followed of course at 9 with the Carousel. And lastly for the week, on Tuesday at 9 we have more building blocks, where it's packed criteria galore and endgame consequences. And videos you might have missed for the week. We have 2 episodes of Dailies by Daylight, one introducing the Death Slinger, and one with randomness reliably resulting in revelry. And an episode of New Millennia where the settlement hits the first marker for industrial manufacturing as the drill comes online. And, as always, on to the questions. Now, I imagine people are going to have a fair few, given the current goings-on, but we have one this week from Princess Firefly. What are your thoughts on ghosts and spirits? Fun fact, I grew up in a haunted house. My house, when I was growing up, was, at this point, definitely over a century old, and it was always sort of like subject to various creaks and groans and moans and whatnot. It was always subject to like apparitions or seeming kind of apparitions all the time, and so it would be difficult for me to say in this day and age at this point that I don't think there's anything to it. I think it's all just like people hallucinating or whatever, that kind of thing, that kind of sort of confirmation bias. I think something is definitely happening there. Whether it's just the house settling or not, I don't know. I definitely want to believe that there was some spirit of one of my deceased dogs there, but that's almost certainly confirmation bias. But as an atheist, I don't really have a belief in a soul. I don't really have a belief in an afterlife that somebody could be somehow excluded from. So I don't really have a basis for saying what a ghost is. I don't believe there's anything in the human body that lasts after death. But there may be some kind of influence that results in these apparitions that we see and perceive and whatnot. I know my mom loves ghosts. My mom loves, like, Most Haunted and whatnot a whole ton. But, my view on ghosts and spirits is that they are a very interesting and fascinating piece of mythology. I don't have a conclusive statement on whether or not they are real in reality, but they are a fascinating concept, at the very least. And that's all that I have for you today, so apologies I don't have much more in the way of good news. Hopefully the VODs will help. Again, I can't promise they'll be sticking around, but we'll see how they do. And hopefully this does start to, like, cool off in the next 3 weeks, but please, the more people actually stick to the lockdown, the faster this will be over. Just bear with it as best you can. And I will be here to entertain you as much as I am able, for as long as I am able. And with that, hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all next time. This video made possible by my wonderful supporters on Patreon. Their efforts ensure that I am able to continue making entertaining content, and that a steady flow of tea continues to feed directly into my ancient and twisted heart. To help me and get some fun rewards for joining my seedy cabal of forgetfuls, head over to patreon.com/lying.